Yo, what's good? It's Skano from the gutter. It must really suck, man. It gotta blow being a white American now, you know. Um, I'm saying, the regular working class white Americans. I, knowing that the rest of the world, not just FBAs, you know, y'all like to pretend that, it's just us that has a problem with, this government, this construct. It has to taste like shit to know that the rest of the world also sees America for what it really is. And they despise your government. They despise it, you know. Ridicule, like I said, it's an embarrassment. But it's got to be hard holding your head up now as a white American. You remember when you used to see, if you're old enough, you used to see all this different propaganda, and as far as, proud to be from the USA, and, the flag everywhere. And, they really was good at pushing that shit out there. Like, this was the greatest country in the world. And not to say it doesn't have its good qualities, but to understand that, your government is full of corruption and wickedness and evil, you know. And although they push this premise of, white superiority, at least y'all could kind of revel in that in the past, even though, even the poor, bum white Americans could somewhat hold y'all head up because y'all was like, oh, at least we better than the black folks. We're better than, the Asians or the Latinos, at least we have that. Y'all was so proud. Not anymore, though. Because not only is it the fact that, your government, like I said, a bunch of con artists and scam artists, you know, that stole, I mean, let's be real. This country was founded on the stolen ideology and technology and cultures of other races to prop up this false, ideology of white supremacy, But not only to, come to the realization of those truths, if you choose to accept the truth, but to realize that your government don't even give a shit about you. Not only is this the most hated country in the whole world, you know what I'm saying, despised by the entire free world, because like I said, it stands on corruption, deception, wickedness, and the suppression, of others, But you don't even reap the benefits of it. They sold y'all a whole damn dream, and y'all ate the shit up. Like I said, you had the dirtiest, broke, poorest, most uneducated white folks walking around in this country like they was really superior to people. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, man, your own damn government sold you out. Sold you out to China, to Israel, Argentina, you name it. And you don't even get to reap the benefits of, systemic racism. You know what I'm saying? And not only that, not only add insult to injury that you see, nevertheless, all these things exist systemically in this country, to block black folks, FBAs that keep us suppressed and on the bottom, we still are progressing. We overcoming all these obstacles. You know what I'm saying? And y'all looking around and it's like y'all just can't get ahead. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, man, it was all an illusion. And y'all fell for it, Fell for it. But it's gotta be tough, man. It's gotta be. Being hated by the whole free world, like I said. Yeah, they'll come here to reap the benefits, But you're not admired. You're not in the forefront of human evolution. That's bullshit. But at the end of the day, man, try and keep your heads up. You know, it's. I know that a lot of y'all have resorted to drug use. Like I said, the drug epidemic in this country is just, you know, it's crazy work, man. To understand that this false premise of racial superiority, that y'all reveled in for hundreds of years in this country, to find out it was all just a scam. You know what I'm saying? And you ain't no better off than nobody else. That's gotta be tough. Because FBAs, we've long understood what we was up against, you know. So I think that's why we're adapting better than a lot of poor white Americans are, even middle class Americans who are getting crushed, under this construct that was inherently designed for y'all to flourish. But yet and still, y'all are being suffocated, So what else do they have, man? But to resort, and I'm saying not all white folks, but the racists. Well, what else do they have to resort to? To make themselves, feel some consolation, but hatred and bigotry, So, just little incidents like what happened at this Texas A&M versus South Carolina football game, where you had this backwards cave dwelling redneck roach, who the Texas trooper. You had two black South Carolina players exiting the tunnel, going back onto the field to play. And, what does this hillbilly do? This Texas trooper. He walks right in between the two players, puff his arms up, That was assault and battery, by the way. This dude should not be in law enforcement. But like I said, we got, the police force has always been a morph of the Klan. So you got a lot of these cave dwellers that are infested in our law enforcement agencies in this country. Well, white folks, y'all law enforcement, because they never benefited us as black folks in this country. But, just walk right in between them, and petty, childish ass. Dude's 60 years old. You're supposed to be a professional. You know what I'm saying? And basically assaults these players and then turns around and gaslight and play the victim and try to, you know what I'm saying? This is what they do, though, This is all they have left, man. So if he was emboldened enough to do that in front of the millions of viewers, I don't know, y'all just get so caught up in y'all hate and bigotry, and we see it. I've seen a lot of this shit, with racist white folks, undermining themselves, cutting the legs out from their own damn self. You know what I'm saying? Getting exposed day after day, getting fired, losing their careers. You know what I'm saying? Just to display your bigotry. You get so caught up in it, man. This dude, and never mind this, paid leave shit while they investigate and then he get reinstated. I wouldn't let this dude police. So he should be fired. And furthermore, they should sue, So these are your leaders, in law enforcement, in the government, people like Heg Seth, like I said, like to carry themselves with them this air of superiority. Just the most ignorant, vilest, corrupted pieces of shit, to populate this planet. And y'all used to revel in this shit, Like I said, not all white folks. But y'all know who y'all are, because y'all popping up on my channel now. So I gotta be pushing some buttons. And I'm gonna keep on pushing your buttons. But I tell you what, man. We fed up and we tired. And we gonna do, like what happened in Ohio with Rodney Hinton Jr. It's gonna be a lot more than button pushing. It's gonna be people getting their top pushed off. because we sick of the corruption, you know, and law enforcement and the government. So, but like I said, man, try and keep your heads up. I'm saying regular, good white Americans, who stand for equality and true justice. You know what I'm saying? Don't, try and keep your head up, man. I know it's tough, but nevertheless, but the rest of you backwards ass, hillbilly redneck cave dwellers, you know what I'm saying? The clock is ticking, because it's happening, man. Genocidal, genetic, I should say, annihilation. Because very soon, if not already, the majority of the world is non-white. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, that is their deepest, darkest, most horrific fear, is losing control and being outnumbered. But it's happening. You know what I'm saying? So very soon, y'all will be the minority. And heaven forbid, if the power construct should ever flip in this country, at some point it will, There will be controlled and run and populated by a majority of non-white. And you better hope and pray, that they have more humanity, than your ancestors do. And the people that are in control of this construct currently, Heaven forbid y'all ever have to suffer what a majority of FBAs have suffered in this country and other races, But the day is coming, man. Like I said, retribution. So it is what it is. No ops left Skano. You already know.